Okay, ne? So this is a kind of interesting part you want to listen. Okay, from page 17, Jodo Shinshu and the daily lives. This is my appreciation. So what kind of life does Jodo Shinshu provide us? Answer. The teaching of Jodo Shinshu brings some change in your daily life so that we can lead a mindful, thoughtful, careful, grateful, and meaningful life. I think if Jodo Shinshu did not bring us those things in our daily life, I think such many people wouldn't have followed this teaching. Since Jodo Shinshu successfully give these things, it attract many people in Japan, and become one of the biggest, Buddhist denomination in Japan. So Shinran Shonin mentions one of them in his letter to his followers. So Kathy-san, could you read underline number 2?
Formerly you were drunk with the wine of ignorance and had a liking only for the 3 poisons of greed, anger, and folly. But since you have begun to hear the Buddha's vow, you have gradually awakened from the drunkenness of ignorance, gradually rejected the 3 poisons, and come to prefer at all times the medicine of Amida Buddha.
Okay, could you continue the underline number 3?
In contrast, how lamentable that people who have not fully awakened from drunkenness are urged to more drunkenness, and those still in the grips of poison encouraged to take yet more poison. It is indeed sorrowful to give away to impulses with the excuse that one is by nature possessed of blind passions, excusing acts that should not be committed, words that should not be said, and thoughts that should not be harbored, and to say that one may follow one's desires in any way whatever. It is like offering more wine before the person has become sober, or urging him to take even more poison before the poison has abated. Here's some medicine, so drink all the poison you like. Words like these should never be said.
Okay, Kathy-san, could you read underline number 4?
In people who have long heard the Buddha's name and said the Nembutsu, surely there are signs of rejecting the evil of this world, and signs of their desire to cast off the evil in themselves.
Okay. And then, Kathy-san, could you continue the underline number 5 on page 18?
That people seek to stop doing wrong as the heart moves them, although earlier they gave thought to such things and committed them as their minds dictated, is surely a sign of having rejected this world.
And then, number 6, please.
Moreover, since Shinjin that aspires for attainment of birth arises through the encouragement of Shakyamuni and Amida, once the true and real mind is made to arise in us, how can we remain as we were, possessed of blind passions?
Okay. Thank you very much. So this is a letter from Shinran Shonin to one of his followers. And then this is one of the examples of how we Jodoshin Buddhist or Nembutsu person live our daily life with the my Shinjin. How we behave based on our receiving the Shinjin. In underline number 3, wine of ignorance. This is a good expression, wine of ignorance, under line number 2. So in a sense, we are drunk. We are drunk with the wine of ignorance. Each of us are drunk with the wine of my own ignorance. Greed, anger, envy, hatred, ignorance, and so on. Then, on page 18, I put a picture or image at the bottom of page 18. So when you got drunk, what would you do? Stop drinking, or you drink more sake? ね yeah. ね If we do not notice that I'm drunk, ね of course people keep on drinking, right? But if people can, oh, I drank too much, I can't drink anymore, then people stop it. Or tomorrow morning I have to wake up early and then join the early morning service, so I have to stop it. See? Then we can stop, try to stop drinking. Right? So Shinran Shonin saying same thing. We are, drunk with my own greed, anger, ignorance. Then listening to the, voice from Amida Buddha, Shakyamuni Buddha, then we realize that, oh, I'm drunk. Then what would you do? You stop doing wrong, doing unethical. This is the kind of the life we Jodoshin Buddhists do, and the reason why we listen to the Dharma. We have to realize by listening to the voice from Buddhas, then we can change our lives. See, I put the big image on page 19. Change brought by Shinjin. I think there are two types of changes. One is like a change from outside, restricted or tied by precepts, rules, or discipline. We try to change myself by those things. This is a kind of change from outside. And I think many Buddhist teaching is like this. Try to devote something, and then they try to change themselves. But I think Jodo Shinshu is more like a change from inside, right? Since we realize my own existence, the reality of my own existence, and also there are some Buddha who is worried about this me filled with blind passions. So because of this realization, oh, I should stop this, like the stop drinking. Since we realize I'm drunk, I try to stop drinking. Like this, Shinjin changes us from inside. See? Rather than restricted by precepts or rules. Rather than that, Shinjin is more like an inner change. Right? Shinjin changes us from inside because of our realization. So this is a kind of difference of Jodo Shinshu and the other Buddhist traditions. See? And this is also, I would say, dynamism of Shinjin. Right? Shinjin changes us from inside. Then I put the Shakyamuni Buddhas under this image. Shakyamuni Buddha, it is said this is the last word of Shakyamuni Buddha. Rely on yourself. Don't rely on others. The Dharma is right. Rely on the Dharma. Don't rely on anything other than Dharma. So the first thing, rely on yourself. What does it mean? So this, I think this yourself means the yourself that realize your true nature or the reality of yourself. And then there is a working of Dharma. See? So this self is a kind of, a self with a Shinjin or realization. So that's why Shakyamuni Buddha said, rely on yourself, which receive the working of Dharma or which realize the reality of yourself. That's why you can rely on yourself. Without those realization, I think it's dangerous to rely on yourself that filled with, bono, blind passion. See? I think this yourself means that, yourself that truly, totally received the Dharma and awaken to the reality of yourself and the working of Dharma. That's why you should rely on yourself. So in that sense, this phrase is more like this change from inside. Since we have a Shinjin or realization, awakeness, that's why we can rely on ourselves, and then we can change my life from the inside. So in that sense, I think kind of similarity between Shakyamuni Buddha's this last word and then style of Jodo Shinshu Buddhism. Then I also put another example of changing of ourselves brought by Shinjin. maybe, or we could become more positive with giving help to others. Ne? Maybe should be called dana, giving. Or maybe we could become more reluctant to doing things which harm others, like described in this Shinran Shonin's letter. Ne? Since we know we are drunk, so we stop the wrong thing. The same way, we may stop ourselves doing something wrong or unethical. Or we could become more patient by paying attention to my selfishness. See, Shinjin is a kind of realization of the reality of myself, which means I realize that I'm a very selfish person. I'm a very greedy person. See, I'm very lots of anger. See, that's why we can become more patient. See, because of this realization. And then we could become more serious about our lives. See? Like okage-sama. See? I'm living in a great deadness or working support from others. Since when we realize the reality of my life. See, I'm not living myself. I'm supported. My life is supported by many lives. This is a kind of realization of the actuality or reality of myself too. So that's why we can become more serious about our life. And also the fifth one, we could come to see things more broader and broadly or deeply. And then also we could be bestowed new eyes to see things differently. I think those are the kind of changes brought by Shinjin. And then I would say this is a kind of 6 parameter. In the Jodo Shinshu tradition, we teach 6 parameter. This is how we can practice, not completely. Our bonno is very strong. Sometimes, bonno, our blind passion, prevents us from practicing these things. But at least we can have some change into doing those things before receiving a Shinjin or realization, after we receive the Shinjin realization. See? So these are another example of changing our lives brought by Shinjin. Saying so, on the page 20, next page, saying so, I would say, I put a caution, to attain Shinjin does not mean to become a saint. By Shinjin, with Shinjin, our life could be changed. However, it doesn't mean Shinjin, we become a saint. To attain Shinjin does not become a saint. Even after we attain Shinjin, see, Shinran Shonin said, Susan-san, could you read this passage?
Shinran Shonin points out the reality of our existence. We're full of ignorance and blind passion. Our desires are countless, and anger, wrath, jealousy, and envy are overwhelming, arising without pause. To the very last moment of life, they do not cease or disappear or exhaust themselves.
So Shinran Shonin said, the third line, the very last moment of life, even though we realize Shinjin, we attain Shinjin, still we are filled with strong bonno. And then this strong bonno, blind passion, ignorance, does not disappear at the very last moment of my life. However, we should make our best effort to live my life meaningfully, positively. See, this is a kind of tension, right? Also, we are further with a blind passion, but we still have another view. Try to live my life as positively and meaningfully, right? And then also I put the Shinran Shonin's conversation. This is a passage from Tanisho, a recording Lament of Divergences. This is a conversation between Shinran Shonin and his follower Yuyen. It's a very interesting or shocking conversation. Meiji-san, could you read this conversation?
The conversation between Shinran Shonin and Yuin Bo. from the record of Laments of the Divergence, Tanisho, the master, Shinran Shonin once asked
Bo?
Bo, do you accept all that I say? Yes, I do, I answered. Then will you not deviate from whatever I tell you? He repeated. I humbly affirmed this. Thereupon he said, now I want you to kill 1,000 people. If you do, you will definitely attain birth. I responded, though you instruct me thus, I'm afraid it is not in my power to kill even one person. Then why did you say that you would follow whatever I told you? He continued, by this you should realize that if we always act as we wished, then when I told you to kill 1,000 people in order to attain birth, you should have immediately done so. But since you lack the karmic cause inducing you to kill even a single person, you do not kill. It is not that you do not kill because your heart is good. In the same way, a person may wish not to harm anyone and yet end up killing 100 or 1,000 people. If the karmic cause so prompts us, we will commit any kind of act.
So this is a very interesting conversation, right? And then also this passage, this conversation shows how Shinran Shonin understood our behavior, our life. See? So if the karmic cause conditions, right, prompt us so, we do anything. Even though we have a good intention, we do the opposite thing, depending on the situation. See, like a traffic accident is something like that. Sometimes people hit other people, but this person has no intention to kill or hit a person, but this person happened to be in such a situation, condition. So that's why this person hit the other guy. See, so in that way, our lives, our behavior, our actions are controlled by conditions. Of course, our intention, our will affects some part, but not totally. We can't do anything as we wish, depending on the situation. We do anything. We can do anything. See, so that's why even after we attain Shinjin, and we still have a field with Bonno, that's why we can do anything. That's the reality of Bonbu or these sentient beings. So that's why we should be careful, right? We should be careful to my actions. Okay, so now I'd like to page 21. Ne? So life of Jodoshin Buddhist. Ne? I think this is a kind of continuous circulation. Ne? Listening to Dharma or exposure to the Buddhist teaching. And then I can realize myself, the reality of myself, what kind of life I'm living. And then a Buddha or Dharma is always working to us. Ne? So through the listening to Dharma, exposure to the teaching, we can attain those realization. Ne? But once we step away from the Hondo or Otera, we forget it, right? Home we listening. Oh yeah, sensei, that's right. I agree with you. Ne? But at home, we totally forget, and then we are driven by our anger and the ignorance and the greed, right? So that's why we have to listen again. Ne? So the tension between realization, Buddha's aspiration, and my own deludedness. Ne? So we try to listen to the teaching, and then have a chance to realize, to reflect upon myself. And then, but in the daily life, we are driven by greed and anger and ignorance. And then that's why we come back to temple again. And then we try to listen myself. Ne? This is a kind of circulation. This is the life of Shin Buddhism. Ne? And then by doing so, I think we can lead a mindful, thoughtful, careful, grateful, and meaningful life. See? So since Buddha or Dharma teaches us what kind of life I'm living now, so that's why I try to be mindful, thoughtful, careful to my life. Right? So this is a kind of result of my product or result of this circulation, listening to Dharma and reflecting upon myself. Then such a life of Jodoshin Buddhists could influence or interest others. In the Jodo Shinshu tradition, we say Jishin Kyoninshin. This is a very important phrase created by Shandao, the fifth of seven masters, Jishin Kyoninshin, to realize Shinjin oneself and to guide others to Shinjin. Of course, it's good to directly to read others to the Nembu's teaching. Oh, we have a very nice teaching. Come to the temple. Listen to the teaching together. This direct way is also good, but there is another way, not the kind of indirect way of transmitting to the teaching of joy of Dharma. See, we can, by leading such a life, see, mindful, thoughtful, careful, grateful, meaningful life, by living such a life, then people could be influenced or interested in the teaching. Oh, that person live a very nice life. So why he can enjoy his life so much? Then people could interest in the person's life, and then start getting interested in the teaching of Nembutsu or Jodo Shinshu. So Kuwahara's aspiration, listening to Dharma is a nutrition of our spirit. So as we keep our life, our body, we eat food 3 times a day. In the same way, I think our spirit needs some nutrition to live mindfully, to live thoughtfully, carefully, gratefully, meaningfully. We need some kind of food or nutrition to our spirit. I think Dharma is a kind of nutrition to our spirit. See? So we don't say, since I ate a lot of food tonight, so I don't have to eat for 3 days, 1 week. See? Like we eat food to keep our body. I think we need some nutrition to our spirit as often as possible. And also Dharma is a mirror that shows the reality of my life. So mirror shows us our appearance, right? So I think mirror shows us the reality of ourselves, our life. Greedy Kuwahara, greedy, lots of angers. That kind of Dharma shows us that kind of aspect of myself, teaches us. But anyway, I'd like to go to a conclusion. Conclusion. Jodo Shinshu followers could be defined as those who, through deep reflection, have realized the reality of their existence and great aspiration or enthusiasm, spirit of Amida Buddha. Different from other Buddhist teachings, which basically try to transform people with a precept, rules, discipline, and so forth. Jodo Shinshu teaches that one will be changed from one's inside because of the realization. Since one has awakened to his or her deep deludedness, one should lead a careful, mindful, and thoughtful life, as the story of wine of ignorance indicates. Furthermore, since one has realized the great working and wish directed from Amida Buddha, he or she should gain a sense of gratitude and appreciation because of the inner change which gradually or immediately brought by Shinjin, and also because of the continual communication with Dharma throughout their lives. The life of Jodo Shin followers become more meaningful. Right? So that this I is changed from inside means that the way how I see, I feel, I sense, I speak, I hear, so on, should also be changed. In terms that the very subject, the subject of reading my life, that is this I, is changed. It could be said that the whole of my life should change. The teaching of Jodo Shinshu affects not only a certain part of my life, but it gives influence upon any aspect of my life. So I think this is the way how Jodo Shinshu is connected with our daily lives. Anyway, thank you very much for listening my lecture. So now I'd like to have a break, so 10 minutes break.
In Shinran's letter on page 17, in the passage, underlined passage number 2, he talks about you begin to hear the Buddha's vow, you gradually awaken from drunkenness of ignorance. You gradually rejected the 3 poisons, and you come to prefer at all times the medicine of Amida Buddha. My question is, how? Because this seems to be a process. I really like how he frames this as a process, an ongoing process. And you talk about the 2 aspects of Shinjin, realizing of compassionate working and aspiration from the Buddha with no doubt. So it seems like if you're in a process and you can, because we have this veil of ignorance, but we can sometimes see the working of the Dharma. But since we have the veil, how can we have no doubt? I mean, how can we get to a state of no doubt? So that's, I mean, and then you talked about there's certain karmic connections. It's karma if we have the opportunity to hear the Dharma, the teachings. There's mindfulness, gratitude, self-reflection, but how do we get on this process? And how do we get to the point of no doubt?
Doubt is one of the biggest topic or issue in the Jodo Shinshu tradition or Shinran Shonin thought. ね、で、OK。そう、どう説明しようかな。I think, doubt would disappear when we truly encounter the Dharma, I think. Which means I'd like to compare, use the example of 何がいいかな。So, Shinran Shonin describes Shinjin as a diamond-like mind. Sometimes, diamond-like mind. So once you get it, you never lose it. See, Shinran Shonin compares Shinjin like a diamond-like mind. In Japanese, kongoshin, which means once you get it, you never lose it. It's a mind very hard. It's a non-destructive mind, he said. And then this description means, see, once you get it, there is no doubt after that. See? But before you get it, you may doubt Amida Buddha's working or Amida Buddha's compassion or something. Because, see, compared with other Buddhist tradition or understanding, just say Nembutsu, that's it. You're all done. So this is too nice. See? Other people are devoting themselves to a hard practice at Mount here, but Shinran Shonin, no, just say Nembutsu, that's it, all done. This, stories, this is too nice for people. And then, but it's like okay, now we have a lottery here. So this lottery is worth 2 million. See, I'll give it to you, Carl-san. And then, usually, how do we react those that kind of thing? This is a very valuable thing. I'll give it to you. See, usually we doubt first. Is that true? Is that really worth 2 million? Yeah? Or so maybe if we receive too nice thing, we usually doubt it. See, this is because our, based on our experience living in this world, right? The longer we live in this world, the more doubt, we have, especially for nice story, too nice things, right? So this is a kind of our calculation, calculation. Because no, we are not such a good friend. Well, we are good friends, but how come Reverend Kuwahara give me a 2 million for nothing, right? Also, maybe he's teaching me, or those kind of things is a kind of doubt in Jodo Shinshu. Like Amida Buddha gives us 2 nice things for nothing, so that's why we may doubt. But once we can truly trust this person, I think doubt is gone, right? So if we have a good relationship, or Sorokal-san truly trust me, or Sorokal-san, I'll give you 2 million, then he will trust me without doubt. So this is a kind of process of structure of doubt, and also this is a kind of my case, not necessary, but I don't doubt my mother's love to me. But sometimes, mother, abuse a child, but my case, my mother took good care of me so far, so I never doubted my mother's, love. However, in my daily life, I don't always pay attention, remembering my mother's love. On a certain occasion, I remember my mother's love without doubt. But once, I truly received the mother's love, I never had a doubt of my mother's love, even though I forget it in the daily life. So doubt and shinjin is something like that. Of course, in your daily life, we don't always paying attention to, Amida Buddha is arigatai, or Amida Buddha's great compassion. Sometimes in your daily life, we get angry, we get, we are driven by our greed. Also, even though we have that kind of time, but I don't doubt that, that's why Shinran Shonin point out, our bonno is very strong, Also, we entrust ourselves to Amida Buddha. On the top of that, our bonno, confuse my life. So at the bottom line, no doubt or entrustment doesn't change, I think. I think I can't explain very nicely, but this is a kind of doubt and shinjin in your life. So that's why Shinran Shonin said, once you get it, you never, lose it. Although our life is, deluded by our bonno, blind passions, but at the bottom of heart, we never lose the entrustment or shinjin to Amida Buddha's compassion.
You can say to yourself, honestly, without any hindrance, I know Amida Buddha can save me, instead of saying, I believe Amida Buddha can save me. When you say, I know, that is no doubt. Now, I don't know about you, how you personally feel about, about that thing, but if you say to yourself, I believe Amida Buddha can save me, then there's an element of doubt there. Let's say, for instance, right now, we say, I believe the sun is shining. Well, you can just doubt, yeah? Because it's obviously it's shining. You say, I know, because I can see it. There's no doubt in there, right? That's one example. That's how I look at it anyway. So ask yourself, Do I believe the Buddha will save me, or do I know the Buddha will save me? Whichever your answer is, if you say I believe, then maybe there's an element of doubt. But if you can honestly say to yourself, I know the Buddha will save me. Hakiri. This decided answer. That's my opinion anyway. Thank you.
A long, long time ago, when I was a parent of children in Dhamma school, it was very popular to say that all you have to do is say the Nembutsu and you'll be saved. And I hated it. I absolutely hated it because there was nothing, no substance to that statement. And so I complained to the bishop at the time that I just don't understand this going on. And I remember Bishop Imamura, a long time ago, showed me a face that I cannot forget. He was so sad when I said that statement. And he said, I must do something about it. And as a result of that complaint that I made, he began to introduce us to a number of teachers, beginning with Dr. Taitetsu No, and all the ministers that came from Japan. And I felt an obligation throughout my life to go because of that statement that I made. And it has been my life journey to find the meaning to that statement.
To be honest, I hate that phrase too. You just say Nembutsu and you'll be saved. It's very, I think, shallow. See? It's very empty phrase. Of course, structurally speaking, that's correct, according to the Jodo Shinshu system or teaching. But as I said, Shinjin is a kind of realization, and Nembutsu is a kind of spontaneous reaction based on this Shinjin. So, saying Namamida Butsu requires some kind of process to say the Nembutsu, see? So without skipping, ignoring this process, just say the Nembutsu, and you'll be saved. That's not true, not necessarily true. Yeah. Then one of the issues in the Jodo Shinshu tradition is a Nembutsu before attaining Shinjin. How do we think about the Nembutsu before attaining Shinjin? I think this is an interesting topic. As I said, Shinjin is a kind of spontaneous reaction to awareness realization, that is Shinjin, to Amida Buddha's working or something. So in that sense, kind of Nembutsu is a kind of reaction after attaining Shinjin. Then how about Nembutsu Namamida Butsu before attaining Shinjin? Is that meaningless? Why do we say? So like the first people, but the people who first visited the temple, they just say Nembutsu without knowing anything about the Jodo Shinshu. How about their Nembutsu? So Nembutsu before attaining Shinjin is a kind of big issue, interesting topic in the Jodo Shinshu teaching. But it's not meaningless. See, Nembutsu before attaining Shinjin is a kind of process, cause or condition in the attainment Shinjin in the future, right? So in the Buddhism, everything is connected, right? Horizontally or vertically. See? So the Nembutsu, even though I say Nembutsu without knowing the meaning or significance there, the saying the Nembutsu leads to or related to the Nembutsu in the future of attaining Shinjin. Like you, so the Nembutsu is a kind of trigger to think you about what is Nembutsu, why we say Nembutsu. And then that notion brings you or have driven you to push forward to think more about the Jodo Shinshu. In that sense, everything is not meaningless. Everything is connected. See, in the future or sometime. So in that sense, in the Jodo Shinshu tradition, saying the Nembutsu before attaining Shinjin is a kind of part of process of attaining Shinjin in the future. So in that sense, although at this moment we don't know much about the Nembutsu or Amida Buddha, even though it's a kind of great, has a great connection or relationship with the saying Nembutsu in gratitude in the future. So it has a great meaning in this Nembutsu too. So this is how we understand the Nembutsu. So, our life is a kind of process. Process, but also it's a kind of point. All these points are accumulated, and then that makes a process of our life. So in that sense, every moment of our life has some meaning to the future of my life. So yeah, that's very nice. Comment. ありがとうございます。Yes.
Does that mean that in the process of doubting,
Mm-hmm.
the subject of doubting,
Yeah.
that also is like a process.
Mhm.
In the beginning, we have full doubt, but as we listen, things change, and we come to become aware
Yes.
of its workings.
Then Shinran Shonin also he confessed his process of encountering Amida Buddha's teaching. See, in the very end of Kyogyo Shinsho, he said he confessed, he firstly devoted himself to self-power, practice. And then also even after he encountered the teaching of Nembutsu, he thought the number matters. And then at certain point he realized, the number doesn't matter. Just the Namu Amida Butsu is enough. And then he entered the teaching of true Nembutsu teaching. So he also has a process. So I think it's good to have a process. This more doubt could affect our attaining enlightenment or attaining Shinji in the future. So that's in that moment, doubt is also important in your life. Yeah.
It was quite a while ago.
Mm-hmm.
They talk about kara nembutsu,
Mm-hmm.
and so for me it is kara nembutsu. I mean, you just say it. But gradually, as I'm in my 80s now, and it has a little more meaning.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to express it, but the nembutsu is, especially when I'm angry,
Mm-hmm.
it I don't know how to. It gives me a sense of peace and acceptance. So I think it is a process, as you say.
Yeah. As I said, our life, Nembutsu forward life is a kind of continual circulation. We say Nembutsu and reflect upon myself, and then we teach the Dharma again, and then reflect upon myself, and then even though Kara Nembutsu or whatever Nembutsu, this Nembutsu leads to a future something. Right? So in that sense, everything is circulated and related in the process of our life. So everything has a meaning. And then one thing ね、さっきメティさんとベティさんのその念仏ね、念仏念仏 so when Betsuin said interesting, so she tried to find the parking lot. She says nebutsu, all right? So sometimes we say nembutsu, we utilize or make use of Buddha's or some religious power to actualize my wish, right? But the nembutsu in the Jodo Shinshu tradition is not that way, because you said interesting. So try to find the parking lot. Say no. If you can find it, okay, I made it. But if not, I thought I should recite nembutsu more, or maybe I have a wrong mind in my mind. So then we think about something is wrong with nembutsu. See, this is not a good attitude toward the Nembutsu. So that's why Nembutsu is not a kind of, not a tool to actualize or to do something. See, not that Nembutsu is not a tool. See, Nembutsu is a kind of a, our reaction to realize, when we receive something, right? So だから like ね、念仏 in your daily life ね、when we receive something, ありがとうございます、何万打仏ね。Even though, waking up at the moment, in the morning, ね、何万打仏、何万打仏ね。Some people say when they wake up in the morning, why? ね、because they could survive, they could wake up ね。Some people die, at the night and then never wake up. See? But we wake up in the morning, we open our eyes, and then the new day starts, which means my new life starts again this day. Which means, I did not die, I still have life. In that sense, we can say the word of appreciation, Namandavs, I'm still alive today, Namandavs, I can live another day, my life. That's a kind of our response or showing our gratitude in the form of Nembutsu. So, yeah, どうぞ。
I use the word Namu in a sense of kansha.
Yeah.
So だから when I find,
ね。
thank you.
Now,
When I
yeah.
find a parking
Praise,
spot,
praise.
it's not because I said plenty times, Namu Amidabutsu, it's not that. I'm just appreciate that I got it. And if I can't find a parking lot, then I think, well, that's karma, I guess,
Yeah.
どこかで
ね、
somewhere
cause
I
and
got it.
condition, yeah.
When I in a hurry and I catch all the green light from Manoa to Alamoana, I
Oh.
think there's conscious
Yeah.
ね。
ね。
But the main thing is to appreciate, like you said.
Yeah.
It's to appreciate what, to use it in that sense of anything, not greed. And then that reminds me of another thing when I was a kid. When you go to funeral, and then the dead person, you go up there and give oshoko. That is to purify yourself. It's not, you're not doing the oshoko for the person. Or it's still that way.
Yeah. Yeah, or ね、合唱 to that person or oshoko to that person is a kind of, our, form of appreciation ね。
And now that, I got to be grandmother, my grandchildren, I have 4 girls and they're very curious. So when I pass and then the light turned yellow, I said, Namo Amidabutsu, because I had the green light. And they're sitting down and listening. And they say, what did you say? And so I said, well, that's to say thank you for the green light that I got. And so now we can go and meet your daddy. We're going to meet your daddy. Well, whatever. But I'm getting to be more conscious of what I'm doing, saying, because there's somebody listening. And I want them to see the right part of it. Like we take them to a funeral and then they want to go up and give oshoko. And they think it's for the person because that was their auntie by friend, no blood relation. You don't know, I don't know whether, I don't stop them, I bring them with me. But what is that? Is that good or let them sit in the back and let them wait until they get older?
I think it's good to bring them to, and then do oshoko or something. So as I said, so even though they don't understand what they are doing oshoko, ね、maybe you can teach them why you do oshoko or why you do gasho, or as I said, so everything is connected to the something in the future. So if they are just sitting back there, they don't see anything. But if you take them to up to there and then do oshoko and do gasho, then maybe that could be a kind of a starting point of thinking about, why I'm doing oshoko, why I'm doing gasho. Then based on this question, they start thinking about those things. Then that could lead to the, deepen, appreciation of Buddhism or Jodo Shinshu in the future.
when you let young children be aware of appreciation, to appreciate, even if they get older and they go into different religion, let's say, I hope that they would come back and think about what I had taught them, the word kansha and the word namo amida butsu. And when I tell them to say that, they get all embarrassed and they don't want to say it. But then I tell them it's a magic word, and they all want to learn it now, and they forget. So you have to repeat this. And I've been doing it. I don't see them often, but they want to hear it all the time.
Yeah, it's good. So Nembutsu is not a magic word for something. Nembutsu is a kind of our appreciation. Showing the appreciation. So we should not misunderstand that point. Yeah, that is very important. I don't. Yeah, I myself, of course, in the Jodo Shinshu tradition, there are many interpretations, but my preference, my starting point is, Namamidabutsu, is not magic word for aspiring for something. It's a kind of our response to receiving something. So if we know that, we should teach or share this thinking to other people.
This is way back, younger days. When we used to have our essays come to our early morning services, they spontaneously recite Namandab. It's very audible. But now, lately, I guess we kind of hold back, our age group. I don't hear that as much, not like before.
Yeah. So that's a kind of, difference of process. I think those people grew up in the situation. People are, actively, positively saying the Nembutsu with a loud voice. That's what they grew up in that circumstances. That's why they naturally say the Nembutsu. But gradually people don't less people saying the Nembutsu, and then so that's why we hesitate to say Nembutsu with a loud voice in the Hondo. But I want to say the Nembutsu with other people with a loud voice at the night, especially at the Naijin. So it is the place we receive the teaching, and we can find myself. So it's good place to say Namamidabutsu, word of appreciation with a loud voice. Yeah, in our daily life, we say Nembutsu with a loud voice. Sometimes people say, what? So we hazukashii, but at the Hondo is the place to say the Nembutsu. So I can say that. Yes.
Is the Nembutsu an opportunity for you to, is it like a koan? In the Zen tradition, they give you like a question for you to concentrate on, or even like sweeping out the dirt, Is it something for you to think about and to come up with your own enlightenment? And after which time it becomes an expression of, I found it. I mean, I can see this. I'm very appreciative of life, and
Yeah, although I'm not a specialist of Zen Buddhism, according to my understanding of Zen, I think the moment of the kind of awakening or moment of aha in the Zen tradition, and then the moment of attaining shinjin is almost same thing, I think. Yeah. So sweeping the garden, they find something. They realize that this world or working of Dharma or Buddha. So that's the moment of aha or realization in the Zen tradition. Jodo Shinshu too, I think. Listening to the Dharma, someday we realize the whole thing of this world or my existence. I think, in that sense, Zen and Jodo Shinshu is the same thing, because we are both Buddhism, right? See, Buddhism is a teaching of realization. So in that sense, Zen and Buddhism, Jodo Shinshu are the same. See? To realize, to see things as they are is the ground or basic point of Buddhism. So in that sense, yeah, I think the same thing.
In the Tanisho,
Yes.
the conversations with Shinran and Yuembo, he says if the karmic cause so prompts us, we will commit any kind of act.
Mm-hmm.
So you gave the example of the traffic accident. I'm wondering though, I mean, if it, for example, all the karmic conditions came together that I were to kill somebody in a traffic accident, but then in the next page you talk about how important it is being mindful, thoughtful, and careful, and grateful. And so can my intention, like if I set the intention, which I usually do every day when I get in the car, to let everyone be safe on the road, you know, and to really try hard not to hit anybody. If I set this intention, is that what you mean by being careful? Can that actually modify karmic conditions, our mindfulness and carefulness?
Yeah, so my action, see, every my action depends on my intention and the situation, cause and conditions around me, right? So, yeah, traffic accident. We should be as, you know, careful as possible not to do that. This is a kind of side of my, you know, intention side. But, you know, due to some conditions and causes and conditions, we hit somebody. So I think we realize that based on the cause and the conditions, we may kill somebody. So that's why I said careful. See, we do anything. We can do anything depending on my cause and conditions, despite of my intention. That's why not to harm other people or not to bring some negative consequences. We should be careful in my life. See, some people don't care their behaviors, actions, right? And then easily harm others or damage things. But I think the person thinks, you know, those things. Then therefore I think we should be careful not to do like drinking, you know, sake. See? Since we know we are drunk, and then if I drink more, it would be a horrible mess. So that's why we stopped that. So in the same way, we know, you know, we are doing something. We have possibility of committing something horrible. So we should be careful, as least as possible, as little as possible. ごめんなさい, I talk too much.